Good evening. Welcome to this week's edition of Business Forum. I am Anita Mwangazi, and it's such a great pleasure to have you join us today. This evening, we focus greatly on widening Uganda's export base, and part of that, we have the Uganda Export Chamber pushing for full use of railway transport. We also have a new move called Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, pushing for growth of Uganda's local market. All of that coming up in this week's edition of Business Forum. But first, we start with Uganda Export Chamber pushing for the full use of railway transport for cargo destined to Uganda and the move away from road transport. The chamber is also pushing for increased exports of Ugandan exports to see stabilization of the local currency. This as Rift Valley Railways announces mega plans to increase the number of locomotives plying between Kenya and Uganda.
The push to have cargo destined to Uganda use rail has been overheard every year. The Rift Valley Railway is now looking for immediate ways of winning traders to move from road to railway transport by applying measures which include slashing transport costs.
By the end of this year, we'll have completed the first phase of our investment, sort of a five-year plan. And we're slowly starting to turn that corner whereby now, I would say in certain areas, we are 10% cheaper than road transporters. We expect that to continue, that we'll provide more efficiencies. Our capacity is growing on a month-by-month basis. So what we're doing is we're filling our capacity with the cargo. There are opportunities for us to get more cargo, which is, for instance, something we're doing here with the export promotion because there's capacity.
We want to create a lot of awareness about the need to export because exports will help us improve the value of our currency. Exports will help us improve and reduce the challenges we are meeting. You know, if we earn dollars, then we don't have to beg for it. And as you know, our economies must get out of depending on foreign aid and depend on ourselves. And one of the ways to depend on ourselves is produce and market more locally and internationally. And Uganda Export Promotion Board will continue doing this.
Uganda Chamber of Commerce is of view that railway transport will greatly help in increasing its trade volumes and ease pressure on roads.
We want to go and give market and trade information to the exporters, to the Ugandan producers, to the Ugandan traders, to the whole entire value chain so that they know where the markets are. Then once we have done that, because we know that the logistics and transport are players in the value chain. So we come and talk to RVR, the railways, and discuss candidly about the need to support the exporters. Then we talk to the exporters and tell them the various options available and the cost and their cost and benefit.
We have a strategy to move much more containers, so flat wagons, as also we are buying new wagons. So we are looking for cargo that we can accommodate in this kind of wagon. Could be containers, could be load on the top of the container, on top of the wagon. There is no specific. We can accommodate also inside of the container. We can containerize the cargo. It's not a problem.
To move goods from hinterland to the borders, the international borders, it is safer, relatively safer to use rails than to use by road. And I have already told you the challenges that you meet on the road as you move the goods from here to Mombasa. You know, they are stopping you all the time. There is corruption. The traffic guy is taking some money from you. But also there will be more stops because of security, because they have to do checks. But railways, once they ensure and assure to the government that the precautions are taken of security, they will be faster. Because then the road, and you know, the railway has the direct road, isn't it? If I should call it road. The rails are direct, and there are lesser chances of being stopped on the road for, you know, for searches, for this, for that. And preferage, you know, preferage. There is little preferage of goods transported by road. You know, preferage, somebody picking one carton, somebody picking a box doesn't more happen as it happens on the road.
Uganda's railway system, however, is dilapidated and it has undergone numerous repairs after near collapse. The government is about to implement the region's ambitious standard gauge railway, but its use may take more years ahead.
The absence of national conspiracy to prioritize consumption of locally made products is stifling the growth of local industries in Uganda. The Buy Uganda, Build Uganda Bubu policy was passed to create an enabling environment for the private sector to develop. However, government is condemned for failing to implement this policy, and government entities are cited as rejecting locally made products, including steel, books, tissue paper, among others, for imported goods. The Buy Uganda, Build Uganda Bubu policy is formulated within the framework of several national development policies and strategies, particularly the National Trade Policy, National Industrial Policy, National Standards and Quality Policy, the National Cooperatives Policy, National Textiles Policy, National Sugar Policy, the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act, PPDA, and the Development Strategic Investment Plan. Bubu was formulated to spur local industry growth and in turn build Uganda's economy, creating employment and increasing local market for locally made products. Sebagala Chigozi is the Executive Director, Uganda Manufacturers Association, UMA, who says that without local market, Ugandan local industries cannot grow.
There is no single country, developed country you will go to and they don't treasure their own first unless they have an issue. If you and I don't conspire to promote WBS, it will not be there. You expect a Kenyan to come and watch WBS? Or you expect somebody from Egypt to come and watch WBS? It is you and me. If I watch it, I will criticize and say, WBS, you are lacking here. You've done this well. This one is lacking. Improve here. So excuses by ministries of saying that they are not buying ours because of international standards. Who told them? They're just being funny. Actually, people, we don't want to say it, but we even reach a point of thinking because of commissions, ETC, and those other underground arrangements of buying this, I will give you this. They evade ours and go concentrate on the other one, which doesn't develop this country.
Buy Uganda, Build Uganda is really to market our products, more of a marketing tool. It's a policy that supports the marketing of our product, that things which are made outside this country are more superior than the things which are made here. That used to be some time back, but not anymore.
However, the policy, just like most policies in Uganda, remains on the shelf, with government ministries expected to take the lead by buying Ugandan goods in bulk, balking in preference for imported goods.
Being evasive from the issue, there is no single country, developed country you will go to and they don't treasure their own first unless they have an issue. There is no single time or minute or day Uganda is going to develop when you don't take on, consume your own. There is what we call national conspiracy.
Government Ministry of Finance, mandated to enforce this, says Ugandan-made products still have challenges with standard and authenticity, something Dr. Ben Manyendo, the Executive Director, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, disputes.
There are those, I should say this boldly, which don't necessarily have standard marks on them. And we always warn people, before you take on any item, look at it.
Close the gaps that allow these people who are producing substandard goods to be in the market. The importers, the local manufacturers. We must close all those doors. And that's what we are doing. Market surveillance, imports inspection is what we are trying to do. But above all, sensitization. For me, I believe sensitization is the biggest tool.
Dr. Manyendo says that the body has gone a long way to enforce standards and that government ministries should stop giving excuses and instead find a way to build the local industry.
The procurement law has been reviewed to allow what they call preference of local produced goods. They allow a certain percentage. If we are competing, for example, one supply, let's say, baso, and we go through procurement. I'm a local manufacturer producing baso, and I'm competing with someone importing soap, the same soap. then my price should be reduced by a certain percentage. So I have at least, I think it's about 15, I can't remember the percentage, but there is a 15% preference, which actually tries to build our local manufacturers, so long as you meet the technical specifications, the standards, and also the delivery periods and the quantity.
We don't want to say it, but we even reach a point of thinking, because of commissions, etc., and those other underground arrangements of buying this, I will give you this, they evade ours and go concentrate on the other one, which doesn't develop this country. You yourself must buy your own pen, consume it. Nice house of practice will find where there are issues. I can't satisfy Minister X. What should I do? She will bring in bigger equipment or more equipment. Expand, satisfy, have issue here. If they don't want a cover which is red, they will put on a blue one. You give them a feedback.
The Executive Director, Uganda Manufacturers Association, calls on government to give 100% priority to locally made products, and where they are lacking, give constructive advice. To him, if Ugandans reject locally made products, no one else will be willing to buy them. The economy will suffer, and unemployment shall continue to plague Uganda's young population. Building a business empire is said to depend on a business idea one has. The ideas need to be viable and competitive enough to pull resources together and attract customers. In Uganda, however, renowned industrialists believe that the potential for business success is with the youth who lack viable skills, but more importantly, capital to begin. In Business Forum tonight, we look at what the Danish government has been implementing in Uganda, targeting entrepreneurship among the youth under the theme Unleashing Africa's Entrepreneurship.
Because the idea comes from a person, what we help them to do is to, out of the many ideas that they have, can you be able to analyze and select the most appropriate? And the selection and analysis is done by themselves as individuals. Ideas can only succeed if they are promoted by the person who has come up with the idea. So our focus is all sectors, as long as the business is accepted by the government of the Republic of Uganda. When you talk of making profits, we believe any business can make profits, but probably we now need to also emphasize agriculture-related businesses, because whether someone has money or not, they must feed, they must eat. And in promoting agriculture, you are able to help everyone, you are able to assist everyone, everyone can become your customer. But not agriculture per se, where people just go and dig and sell. We need to talk of adding value to agricultural business. If someone is growing maize, can they go ahead and process it into maize flour? Can they go ahead and make porridge out of it? So we are promoting agriculture, yes, even other sectors, but we need to add value to make it more economical, but also to make sure that these people earn more than they should earn. In terms of creating businesses, we've been able to create businesses, individual businesses as well as group businesses. Young people have been able to start businesses, young people have been able to improve their businesses, and we've done some assessments where it has been proved beyond doubt that out of the 100 people that attend the classroom business training, at least 56% have started businesses. And of those 56%, at least they have been able to create 2.4 additional jobs. So when you look at the numbers we've reached, over 21,000 young people have been benefiting directly from our just one package of training, because we have other packages of promoting entrepreneurship culture, promoting entrepreneurship education. But when you focus on the trainings per se, out of the 21,000 that have been trained, 10,000 jobs have been created. That's the average of 50%. So looking at jobs, businesses have been created, but jobs, over 20,000 jobs have been created.
We've, under the Youth Entrepreneurship Facility, we had a number of interventions. And one of them was access to affordable finance. But again, we had a component where we work with young people who are in groups to give them a voice because they have ideas usually. And these ideas are not implemented because they lack finance. So we worked with them in groups by giving them grants. And then these ones who were having ideas and they have gotten the skills, where we had partnership with banks. So you link them to banks like Centenary Bank, where they can access credit. But I can say, of course, usually resources are not enough. Like for the grant scheme, the first call we had in 2010, we received over 400 applicants, but we awarded only 8. The next call we had over 460. We awarded about 13 or 14. So I say we have tried, but of course usually the resources are not enough, so we make it competitive. Those with very brilliant ideas usually get. So, but for those we have supported, we have seen enormous changes in whatever they are doing. We have seen results. We have seen jobs created. But you know, the challenge of access to finance usually also depends on information. Some young people do not know that finances are there. They fear to approach finance institutions. Under this program, we had that capacity building component, where we help young people get linked to financial institutions. How do you approach institutions? There's a lot of finance. Even government has a number of programs. We started with the Youth Capital Venture Fund. Now we have the Youth Livelihood Program. But when you move across the country, some young people do not know that these programs exist. But as we were implementing this program, the Youth Entrepreneurship Facility, we had a number of awareness campaigns where we also helped young people to get to know the existing government programs where they can get money and implement their projects and do businesses.
Right now we are trying to promote entrepreneurship among the young people because of the growing population, we don't have enough jobs. So the only other solution that we could talk about is entrepreneurship. So we are encouraging these young people to make it as a career, but also to be able to earn a living out of it. So we promote entrepreneurship so that they can start their own businesses, grow their own businesses, employ themselves, but also be able to employ other young people. These young people have different ideas, so we assist them to turn those business ideas into business opportunities by helping them to start businesses through trainings, mentoring, counselings, but also capacity building of their own youth organizations so that they can also be able to have a voice in terms of knowing what works for them and what doesn't work, but also helping other youth to come up with their own businesses.
This is Business Forum. Do stay with us now. There is still so much more to come, including civil society's outlook on the upcoming budget for 2015-2016. Stay with us.